Hi friends! Today we are going to make a cactus plushie. We're going to follow along with the steps in the instruction packet that you got in your packet. And we're going to get ready and get started. You're going to pull out all of your supplies and follow along with me as we make our cactus plushie today. Here we go! So in your kit you have gotten some green felt. You have gotten some pink felt. We're going to be using this burgundy today that I'm going to be making. You're going to have white thread, pink thread, green thread, 2 eyes, an embroidery needle, and a pattern. You're also going to get some fiber fill. You're going to have to get some scissors, some glue, pens, and just a couple pins. To get started, we're going to read our first instruction. Print out the cactus plushie template, which is on your white paper already. Then we're going to use the template to cut out 2 cactus shapes from your green felt. So I'm going to take my green felt, we're going to take our cactus shape, and we're going to lay it on our paper. And we're going to put the other piece right underneath of it. So we're going to do 2 at a time, make it a little easier. Lay them together, flatten them out. Get our cactus shape. We're going to lay, I'm going to kind of lay it off to the side so you can see that there is the edge there and the edge there. And I'm going to take a couple of my pins. I'm going to stick it right through all the layers just to hold them down. This way, when we're cutting out, the layers won't shift. Then we're going to take our nice sharp scissors and we're going to cut. We're going to cut right on the line where the cactus is. We're going to end up with 2 cactuses when we're done. You want to try to keep your cuts as smooth as they can be. This is what's going to give your outside of your cactus a nice smooth edge. Not all jaggedy, but cactuses do have points, so if you want it to be jaggedy, you can. Cut that off. All in your creative ability and what you guys want to make it look like. You get to make him have his own personality. Okay, we have our cactus shape is cut out, 2 pieces. We're going to lay him right here. Our next step is going to be to take off these pins. We have 2 cactus shapes. We're going to choose 1 cactus shape to put on our front. We're going to use our fine tip marker. I'm going to try using this pen. And we're going to mark where we want to place my eyes and my mouth. So I'm going to think I would like his eye, 1 eye here, 1 eye here. Okay, there's his 2 eyes and his mouth. I'm going to give him a smile. Oh, he has a silly smile. It's like a half smile. Okay. Step 3 is to cut a small slit along the eyeball dots for my black buttons. I'm going to use my little scissors here. Fold our fabric in half and snip, snip, snip. This is going to help us to push the shank, which is the long part of our eye, through the felt. Push, 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 push. Oh my gosh, he's gonna have so much character. And we're gonna sew them onto the back of our green felt. In order to do that, what we're going to do is we're gonna turn sideways. We're gonna take our white thread here and we are going to pull out a little chunk. And we're gonna cut it I'm gonna separate my threads. There's 6 strands. We're only gonna use 3, so you can take them apart like so. We're gonna lick the end. We're gonna take our needle and we're gonna thread this through the eye. Very carefully. Ta-da, just like that. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull your thread all the way so that they're even, like so. And we're gonna tie a knot at the end. Tie the knot at the end. We're gonna take our fingers, we're gonna make a circle, and we're gonna stick that end right through and pull it tight. And that gives us a knot. All right. How we're gonna sew these guys on. Oh, his eye keeps popping out. That's why we gotta sew them on. We're gonna pick up a little bit of thread. We're gonna get a little bit of the backing of the green, and we're just gonna loop it around through the eye and around. We're gonna do that about 3 times. 2, 3. You see on the front, you can't see it because the eye's so big. Then we're gonna tie it, so we're gonna go back in through here. And when we come back up, we're not gonna pull it completely tight because we have this loop. We're gonna stick our thread right through that hole and pull it tight, just like that. And we're gonna make one more loop, same way, around and around, and tight. And then we're gonna trim. We're gonna give him a haircut because we don't want all this extra thread on there. Other piece that we had, the other, when we separated, we had 2 6-inch pieces. We had 2 pieces. When we separated our 6 strands out, and we have 3 and 3. And we're gonna rethread it. So we have 2. Same. We're gonna tie it off at the end, around a little loop, stick your finger through, and you made an end knot. Ta-da! Then you're gonna stick your needle in through the back, through the other side, and through the center hole, and pull it tight. 1, 2, 3. The 4th time around, we're gonna go halfway. We're gonna stick our needle back through. We're gonna pull these little threads out so that way they're not in our way, and pull it tight. And turn it around and pull it tight. I always put my thumb on it so that way it helps to keep it tight. Then we're gonna give him a haircut, okay? And there are his 2 eyes. He's so happy. Oh my goodness. All right, so he has 2 eyes. Now we're gonna thread our needle with pink embroidery floss. Pink, pink, pink. Sew along the smile. To sew this smile, we're gonna do something called a back stitch. So we're gonna come from the bottom because we always want our end of our thread to be on the wrong side of our fabric. So that way you don't see all this stuff when you're making your finished product. It'll be on the inside, not on the outside. So we're gonna take and we're gonna stick our needle through the back and we're gonna pull it up. And then we're gonna go back down. We're gonna do probably like an 1/8 of an inch little stitch, like so. To give him, the smaller the stitches, the easier he's gonna have a smaller space. So from this stitch, we just went in and out. Now we're gonna go forward a little bit that same about 1/8 of an inch, and we're going to pull it up. So as you can see, it kind of skips that little hole, but we're going to go right back in that hole that we just came out of a second ago. And so it's going to connect them. So we're going to go forward a little bit. Oops, a little farther than I wanted. Right on that line, forward, and then backward, right in that hole. I'm gonna have to move it a little closer to my face so I can see here. And see how the smile is taking shape? Forward. And then backward. I get a little excited sometimes and I make my stitches get a little bit bigger as I go, so I gotta kind of control how wide I'm doing each stitch here. But it's also going to give him more character. The bigger and wider your stitches are, it's all in your creative eye and how you want him to look when he's done. Keep going a little farther. Almost done his smile. All right, we're coming up to finishing the end of his smile. We have about 2 more stitches probably. So we just finished our last little thing with his little goofy smile. And then we're gonna flip it over here and we're gonna make a loop with our knot and we're gonna tie it off just like so. And then what do? We're gonna give him a haircut. Chop, chop. So the back is pretty neat as well as the front. Pretty clean. Now, we're going to move on to step number 5. Turn the front of your cactus plushie over, and you're going to use your black marker to draw lines down the center of your cactus and along the arms. So, we're going to take our marker, and we're going to give him, it looks like they have 3 lines. So we're going to give him 1 line right here. And the reason we're putting it on the back is so that way we don't see these lines on the front. We're gonna have a short one here in the middle. They can be as long as you want. You can give them more than 3 if you want. You can give them 5. You can give them 2. It's all in how many you want to have to sew when you're done. Get on the other side. Ooh. 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 All right, there's those 2. Then we're gonna do a long one along here and then a short little guy. We'll do a long one and a short little guy. Like that. So that's on the wrong side. Okay, step 5. We turned the cactus over and we drew our lines on our cactus. We're gonna thread our needle with some green embroidery floss and we're gonna use it to sew along the black lines with a running stitch. A running stitch is different than a back stitch, which we use for the mouth. The mouth, you can see that it's all connected. A running stitch is going to be all little separates, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's pretty simple. To do that, we're going to start over here on our little leg. You can see I already did this one. We're going to stick it from the back to the front because we always want that wrong knot on the outside. And you're just going to go down and up and then back down and then back up. These are going to create the cactus needles. Down and up. This is when people think of needle sewing thread, pulling thread. This would be the idea that you're getting, where the needle goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I did that. We're going to tie it off. Again. Time it went kind of high. I always kind of use my finger. Help it full tight. Then on the other side, you're gonna see all of those little teeny dots. I'm gonna rethread my needle again. So to separate our thread, So we're still working on step 6. We're sewing along the black lines to create all of the cactus needles. Okay, I'm working from the back to the front because we keep those knots on the wrong side. Down and up, and you sewed right on that. You're sewing directly on that line that you just drew. Down. And your stitches can be as small as you want, as big as you want. This is going to give it the character of the different cactus needles. Kind of flip it over every once in a while just to make sure it's what I want it to look like. Oh, okay. If you get a knot like this, you just pull it back gently. You stick your needle in, and you just pull it. You don't want to pull it tight until you figure out where the knot is, because if you can catch it before you pull it tight, you can usually get the knot out. You pull it tight, sometimes you're in trouble and you can't get the knot back out. That's always frustrating, like this. So I usually take my needle and I'll stick it in to try to pull it out. A lot of times those knots happen because your yarn gets twisted. If your yarn gets twisted, I usually just hang it and let it go, and it will unswivel and it will hang right again. And then you can keep on sewing. Through the top to the back, because you want to keep your knots where? On the inside. So we're going to pull it tight. There's our knot on the inside. Give her a haircut. Haircut, chop, chop. And we're gonna do the next one. Same thing, down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up. So far with this cactus, you've done a back stitch, a running stitch, and you've also learned how to sew on a button eye with a shank. All right, there's all my cactus needles. There he is. He's pretty cute, right? Now we're going to move on to step number 7. Layer the 2 cactus pieces together. We're going to pull up our other piece, and we're going to take the other one, and we're going to put them together like a sandwich. Place sewing pins. We're going to take those pins back out that we just used a little bit ago. And we're going to pin the cactus together. So we're going to take one pin, stick it in. 2. This is going to hold them together so he doesn't shift. All right, now we're going to get our white embroidery floss and tie a knot in the end. Says thread your needle with a long piece of white embroidery. Start at the bottom left corner of the cactus and sew a running stitch. Which one was the running stitch? That was these big long ones, not the back stitch, but a running stitch. Where it's up and down, up and down. Starting at the bottom, we're gonna thread it. We're gonna start sewing here, and we're gonna go up, around, and we're gonna stop right here. So do that. We're gonna start with our thread on the inside So that way we can get that knot hidden, like so. And then we're just gonna go down. And up. And down. You want to keep these stitches kind of close together because this is where your polyfill, your fluff will go, and we don't want that to just start popping out the seams. This is our two seams holding our cactus together. So you want to take your time and get nice, pretty, even stitches. Now that we've gotten that far, we're going to take some of our fiber fill. I'm going to unpin a little bit here so that way I can get into his arm. This one out too. And we're going to stick some fiber fill up in his arm. It helps if you have something sharp that you can poke. Up and fill his arm up. Give him some character. Here's his one arm. Go back and stick our pins in it to hold them together. Keep going around his head here. I'm going to add some more fiber fill to his head. While we're here, before we get too far that we can't reach. Oh, this is too funny. This through. Add some fiber fill into his other arm here. Again, just use your marker. Might use the tip of my scissors to help push it up in there. All right, we went all the way around on all the sides. Now we have the bottom is open. And we're going to keep that bottom open so we can fill the rest of our cactus up with fiber fill. He's starting to get some character here. He's kind of funny. I keep calling mine a he. Well, no, I guess it could be a she. Depends on what kind of little accent you want. If you want to make a little flower for it. We're gonna get it nice and full here. All right. And we're gonna take our end here, because we can always smush it back out. And we're gonna stick a pin in it to help us keep it together while we go across the bottom and finish sewing him closed. All right. We're getting back to this end where we started, and we'll do the same thing that we did to get him going. Is we'll tie a knot We're going to go just through the top. We're going to split. We're going to go back down and we're going to come up through the middle between the two layers here. And we're going to tie a knot. Yep. Okay. And then what I like to do is take this end. We're going to bury it inside the cactus. So we're going to do it. We're going to thread our needle and we're just going to stick our thread in through that edge, pop it out and pull. And there's that. Trim off the beginning thing. Trim off this little piece so you can't see it. Then we're just going to even them out a little. So here's our little cactus plushie. He's pretty cute, isn't it? To recap what we've done, we sewed our buttons on. We learned how to sew a button shank. We learned how to do a back stitch. We learned how to do a running stitch and a running stitch. And we stuffed and we learned how to cut out a pattern. If we'd like to add a cactus to our plushie, we can take our pink or whatever fun color felt you have, and we're going to cut out a circle. I'm just going to rough cut a circle. Like so. And you're going to scrunch it together. You're going to fold it and you can scrunch it up. And scrunch it up. Scrunch it up until it makes like a little flower. Then what I would suggest you to do in your pattern is to take a hot glue gun and glue your flower onto your cactus. And we have our cactus plushie. I hope you enjoyed making this cactus plushie with me. Oh, my name is Cactus Plushy.